They break down to 7 units. You can also see the 7 segments which will naturally separate as the DNA is depolarized. Once the master gene is attached, they come to life, and that's the way life begins.
The ability to see these earliest life forms via life crystals will show the development of a cell nucleus, which is also known as mitochondria. Dr. Merkl calls this precursor to our cell nucleus chondriana. He also discovered that these earliest life forms have gender, male and female. In this segment, you will witness a highly intelligent, well-organized society of microbial organisms, powerfully able to prevent or fight disease.
Here we can see the formation of a primitive nucleus outside of the cell. You can see the genetic material inside beginning to proliferate as the female chondriana begins to evolve inside of a primitive nucleus. Now you can see a primitive nucleus, the female chondriana evolving inside. And you will be witnessing here how the organelle enters into a nucleus, delivering the message. In actual footage, actual time, that man has never seen before. He's inside now. And he will exit at the opposite side by depolarizing the membrane. And this is the beginning of the evolution of the female chondriana. The marble on the top is the evolving female chondriana. And the bottom marble is the male organelle from the transfer RNA delivering the message and the genetic material. Now you can see the female very clearly. And that was that 7 genetic material with the master genes. Which was oscillating, creating an oscillatory field and an oscillatory current, and the two ends polarizing, folding into a circle, and the primitive nucleus coming into existence. Now here you can see the female inside the nucleus with the genetic materials proliferating in a more advanced stage. You see, in this stage the chondriana is not grown up yet. Eventually that chondriana will grow up and come to life like chicken in the egg. Now this is a life inside of a membrane. And now the female came first. The female evolved inside of the primitive nucleus. You can see here a female is orbiting in multi-dimension. And you can see the colloidal life within, or the genetic materials within, dispersed. They're individually intelligent, working in tandem, deciding when to change directions, and that determines the orbiting path of the female. So they must communicate with each other. Now, when the female consumed all the genetic material, those are those little marbles you see inside of her. those little marbles were randomly distributed within the membranes, which you will see later, and that's what she swallowed. While I was replicating genetic process via live crystal, on December 25th, 5 o'clock in the morning in 1990, I looked into the microscope and I observed the birth of the first chondriana.
Maybe that was your Christmas present to the world.
Well, very few scientists would sit at the microscope 5 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, but I was one of them. And this was the most beautiful present indeed when I discovered the chondrianas. And I was standing over the microscope for 8 hours with my camera on my shoulder, taking the pictures through the eyepiece, since the microscope was a homemade one. And I decided that I have to record these historic events. And I succeeded to record the first birth of the chondrianas. And the female chondriana was giving birth to male triplets on that morning. And here you can see the formation as the genetic materials being segregated and divided into the three males. Actually, as the chondrianas were evolving or devolving, they changed the method of reproduction from giving birth to division. As I change the concentration and so the energy level in live crystals, the chondriana will degenerate, devolve, as the energy level is dropping, and eventually turns into macrophage or T cells, like our degenerated or devolved immune cells. These are the ancient ones, way back in time. They're super intelligent, polymorphic. They can change into many different forms instantly, or they can disperse and reassemble in multitudes. When I kill them, they also resurrect in exactly 3 days. They're eternal. And the intelligence even we can envy. Now that one just came out there. That's the second one. And now comes the third one. You can see the cell membrane, it's visible. See the outline of the cell membrane, the inside. And she's coming through the septum, or here. They're looking for the septum, which is equivalent to uterus. Even today, our nucleus maintained its septum. Through the septum, our nucleus still communicating with the mitochondria in our cell via messengers, exchanging genetic material, having sex by messengers. Seem they have a little difficulty to find the septum to exit. It happens sometimes. It's going around. See, they finally